but she pushed him away and ran. The hero is happy to hear this because she stood her ground. Meanwhile, Phoebe is walking alone, feeling sad. Angie calls him, but he doesn't answer. When he gets home, he finds her waiting outside his building. Seeing he's upset, she sits with him and comforts him, telling him he's kind and brave, and confesses her love for him, asking for a chance. The next day, the heroine is in the girls' dormitory when the hero calls to tell her that his mother is in town and wants to meet her. They meet at a restaurant, and when his mother arrives, she tells the heroine she's beautiful and looks like her own mother. They all eat together, and after they finish, they say their goodbyes and leave. At night, they're sitting in the apartment when the doorbell rings. The heroine opens the door to find her friend surprising her with a birthday celebration. The hero invites them in, and the heroine thanks him for letting them have the party at the apartment. He tells her that will be her birthday gift and helps them decorate with balloons. He blows out the candles, and the heroine makes a wish. They all take pictures together, happy and playing a game. The heroine loses, and they ask her to look into the hero's eyes for a minute. But she gets lost in the moment and ends up staring for much longer. Her friends snap her out of it, and the party ends with everyone tired. The hero falls asleep from exhaustion, and the heroine has to clean up the whole place by herself. When she's done, she tries to wake the hero to go to his room, but he's out of it and gets a bit too close to her. She leaves him to sleep, but later she comes back to cover him with a blanket. The next day, the hero wakes up, not remembering anything. He asks the heroine about it, and she gets flustered and walks away. Meanwhile, Angie goes to meet Phoebe and is surprised by how beautiful she is because he hadn't noticed before. They walk together, and she tries to hold his hand, but he grabs his phone instead. However, when she thinks he's not interested, he surprises her by linking their arms. They go on rides together, and Phoebe cheats to win, making her playfully hit him while laughing. During one of the games, he accidentally calls her by the heroine's name, which upsets her because it shows he's still thinking about her. She hides her feelings and laughs to keep the date from being ruined. He buys her a gift and takes her home, and she tells him she enjoyed the outing, but she realizes he took her to places the heroine likes, indicating he's still thinking about her. She leaves him and walks away. Phoebe waits for the heroine outside her workplace. When she sees him, she tries to walk away, but her friend stops her and invites them to lunch. She leaves them to talk, hoping they reconcile, but the heroine tells Phoebe that she forgives him and asks him not to treat Angie the way he treated her. She tells him that she loves him, and he needs to take care of her. Meanwhile, the hero is in the lab, and the professor notices he's not himself. He confides in the professor that he's afraid the heroine might go back to her ex and leave him. The doctor hands him a book with advice about love. He tells him that he and the hero are happy, and he starts reading and applying the tips. The first thing he does is pretend to talk to another girl on the phone, which the heroine overhears and gets jealous. She doesn't show it though, and this frustrates the hero, who goes back to the book for more advice. Later, while the heroine is in her room, the hero calls her and tells her it's snowing. Knowing how much she loves the snow, she gets excited and rushes outside to play in the snow like a child. The hero watches her enchanted by her innocence and prepares a love letter for her as suggested by the book. However, the heroine doesn't understand it because the hero, being a physicist, wrote it with physics equations, making it incomprehensible. They go for a hot drink to warm up, and the heroine mentions she wishes she could build a snowman, but the snow melts too quickly. The hero takes off his jacket to cover her and keep her warm. The heroine is happy but feels shy and thanks him. They head home, and she's pleased with his attention. The hero waits for her to fall asleep and then goes out to the street to build a snowman for her, placing it in the freezer but ends up catching a cold. At the lab, his colleague notices his fever and wants to take him to the hospital, but he refuses, saying he just needs to rest. She insists and gets him medicine from the pharmacy, and he thanks her for her care. Later, the heroine is shopping at the supermarket and realizes she left her keys at work. She calls the hero and is surprised to find he's home early because he's sick. She tells him to rest, promising to get him medicine, and arrives quickly, making the hero happy. He hides his medicine in the drawer when there's another knock at the door. His colleague answers, and the heroine is surprised to see her. They both assume the other is in a relationship with the hero. Each tries to make the hero take their medicine, but he agrees to take only the heroine's. His colleague gets jealous and excuses herself, feeling out of place. The hero thanks her for visiting and sees her to the door. He then helps the heroine put away the groceries and remembers the snowman, suggesting she checks the freezer for a surprise. She opens it, only to find the snowman melted, disappointing the hero. The heroine calls her friend for a recipe, hoping cooking for the hero will help him recover. She enters his room to check his temperature, which is 38 deg C. She insists he needs to rest and should go to the hospital, but he refuses, afraid of needles, and hides under the covers like a child. She prepares a meal for him, and he comes out to eat. The doorbell rings, and the heroine opens it to find the hero's colleague with a package for him. She sits next to him, and they try out his new microscope, making the heroine jealous, and she retreats to her room in frustration. When she comes out, she sees the hero and his colleague preparing to go out for lunch. The colleague invites her to join, but the heroine refuses, hiding her jealousy. Meanwhile, Phoebe prepares for an exam and Angie accompanies him, confident he will pass and promising to wait for him after the exam. They spend time together and he tells her she makes him feel capable of achieving anything and wants her by his side. He confesses he no longer has feelings for the heroine and is now interested in Angie, wanting to be with her. Angie is moved by his words and laughs with joy, hoping he's sincere. She warns him not to make her cry, or she and the viewers will be upset. The heroine at home drops and breaks her mug. The hero tries to help, but she refuses. He realizes she's upset with him and leaves her alone, retreating to his room. Later, the heroine is at a restaurant and runs into the hero's colleague by chance. The heroine sits with the hero's colleague and asks about her relationship with the hero. The heroine explains that they are friends and share an apartment because their mothers have known each other for a long time. The colleague is delighted and confesses she has a crush on the hero. The heroine is shocked by this revelation. The colleague goes to call the hero to join them, and the heroine takes the opportunity to slip away but forgets her ID card, which the hero finds. He calls her to come to the lab to retrieve it. When she arrives, she overhears him talking to his colleague, who is holding a cat. The hero comments that the cat is beautiful and sweet. The heroine misunderstands, thinking he is talking about his colleague, and feels hurt because he hasn't complimented her in a long time. She walks away angrily, and when the hero tries to talk to her, she responds coldly, leaving him puzzled. He decides to talk to Phoebe to understand her better. When he finds Phoebe with Angie, Phoebe tells him that he no longer loves the heroine and is happy with Angie now. The hero returns home with a gift. The heroine is awake and he asks if she wants to try his microscope. She agrees, and as they look through it together, they get very close, making the heroine nervous. The hero gives her a gift, and she pretends not to care, but once he leaves the room, she quickly opens it and is thrilled to find a replica of her broken mug. The next day, the hero meets Phoebe at the library and tells him what happened. Phoebe suggests the heroine probably heard him talking about the cat and thought he meant his colleague. To prove his point, the hero brings the cat home and shows it to the heroine, who is delighted but continues to play with the cat and ignore him, which frustrates him. When the heroine learns the hero is allergic to cats, she starts teasing him by getting close with the cat. The hero warns her that if she doesn't stop, he'll kiss her. She retorts that it's not new since he already did it once and runs to her room, embarrassed. The hero is left shocked, trying to remember when this happened. The next day, he tells her he's been trying to recall it but can't remember anything, accusing her of joking. The heroine, annoyed, brings him some alcohol from the fridge and forces him to drink it to jog his memory. As soon as he drinks, he remembers everything and tries to get close to her to confirm what he did, but this time she pushes him away and walks off. Later, the hero is at the lab, unable to focus, and shares the incident with the professor. The professor suggests that the hero take the heroine to a romantic place and confess his true feelings to her. During this time, the heroine is at work and unable to concentrate because of what happened. She goes online to take a quiz to confirm if the hero loves her and writes the result on a piece of paper. The hero waits for her outside the company, intending to take her somewhere romantic and confess his feelings. However, he sees the quiz paper and finds that he scored 0. Oh dear, better luck next time, buddy.